The way we were introduced to this was a cardiologist colleague of ours whom we very much respect. We refer our patients to. I'm in women's health and Jay is family practice. So when he invited us to come to a presentation about this product, I don't know if I heard it wrong or I wrote it down wrong. I'm not sure. But whatever he said, when I Googled it, it was just this random multivitamin, which there's nothing wrong with multivitamins, but I just was like, I don't have time for this. I was still a mom of young kids. We have 5 kids. And I was like, I'm just not going to go to this meeting about a vitamin. I just can't. And so you went by yourself and I didn't go.
Mm-hmm.
And when you came back, you were so funny because Jan Bloom was the presenter. Of course, we didn't know her yet. And the way you said it, you said, well, I don't know how to explain it to you, but it was a really good presentation. And, it was this mom gave the presentation. And I think he was trying to get me to respond to, I don't know, my mother instinct or something. But when you showed me the brochure, I was like, well, this isn't a vitamin. What is this? And I actually was so interested that I went to, must have been having a meeting the next night. And I went to that meeting, listened to the presentation, and I think I bought 50 or 100 boxes that night. I was scared to tell you. And then we ended up buying like 25 more boxes later because that's how fast it
Yeah.
was going. But the point of this is that we were traditionally trained nurse practitioners. We happened to go to Vanderbilt University, and traditionally trained meaning if you've got this problem, here's this pill. If you've got this disease, here's a pill, here's a prescription. So at that time, thinking that something like this would affect the lives of our patients as much as it did really shocked us and actually changed the course of our entire career and how we practice medicine today. But why don't you talk a little bit about why we were so impressed with this product?
Sure. So, I was thinking about tonight, and I was thinking about where I was in October 2011 when I found this product, or it found me. Let's put it that way. I had been practicing in family practice for about 10 years, and I needed a solution for my patient's health. With diabetes today, just side note, diabetes is metformin +1, metformin +2, metformin +3, and maybe you're going to end up on insulin. I needed a +4. I needed a +5. I needed a solution because we were running out of medication options for diabetics and people that were overweight and obese. And then I come to learn about this product. And when you understand how it works, and you understand that the guidelines in medicine actually used to speak to the ingredients in here, which were phytosterols and 10 to 25 grams of highly viscous soluble fibers. And you're like, I recognize the ingredients. I said, those are in the guidelines. Okay. Now, unfortunately, medicine has gotten into pills first and nutrition second, which isn't the way it's supposed to be, but they just don't believe anybody's going to make any nutritional changes. I think that's where it's gotten to. So they just said, medication. And it was disheartening 10 years ago to be at a place where I needed something for my patients. The patients that I look at in the eye, and it hurts me to put them on another medication that I knew wasn't really going to solve their problem. How many pills are going to solve a nutritional problem? Essentially, it's a nutritional deficiency. And in diabetes, very interesting. Overweight and obesity, very interesting. And all of it is connected to, I say type 2, I should say that most diabetes and most of our metabolic and chronic diseases are connected back to our health. That's connected to our nutrition. So it's what you do and what you don't do. And most of today's problems are what people are not doing. So what I recognized in this product balance, people were not eating the ingredients that were in here. Right. And because of that, their insulin levels and their glucose levels were skyrocketing. And when the insulin's high, they're gaining weight. And when they're gaining weight, they're pushing themselves closer and closer to diabetes. And so it's this cycle that I keep throwing medicine in, doesn't really help. But when I changed nutritionally what they were doing, the composition of what they were digesting, all of a sudden blood sugars and insulin started to stabilize, all of a sudden they lost weight, they felt better. People felt better, that's for sure. GI problems, they were feeling better. And a magic thing happened. People wanted to continue doing that. They wanted to continue doing healthy. So very interesting, because that product changed my whole view of medicine. It changed the way where I'm like, why are we throwing something here at the end for a problem when we could be right here in the nutrition where it's either creating the problem or not creating the problem, creating a benefit or creating a problem. So I started using this and very excited to do it. It solved a major, major problem. Guess what? We still have the same problem. We still have the same problem because not everybody's using this, but there's a new problem and it hurts my heart. And I'm really having a hard time with this one because, as we know, COVID has changed the whole world dynamic. And 90% of my day is spent either treating people for COVID or, and I could tell you almost every single patient. I could tell you who's in the hospital right now. I can tell you that I've called that patient's family every single day for the last 15 days. I can tell you when I go home at night and I try to go to sleep, I cannot go to sleep without praying for this person. And, you know, part of this thing is upsetting to me because COVID didn't cause these problems. COVID exploited these problems. In other words, if you look at all the problems, the people that are at risk, high blood pressure, diabetes, guess what? Overweight and obesity, kidney problems, overweight and obesity causes all of those things. So we have a weight problem that started with a nutritional problem, a deficiency from what was not in the diet and what is here. And that's why it has so much impact today on people's health. And,
I think also I didn't mean to interrupt you, but I think what meant, I don't know, maybe it's because I'm a numbers person, but when we would see the actual lab results,
oh my goodness,
that was what made a difference in our minds as far as healthcare professionals, to see the numbers would drop better with this, as far as, I don't know, somebody's A1C, for example, better than what you would see on the medications that you would prescribe. And we saw that over and over. And I mean, remember
I used to give presentations on case studies over and over and over again. In that because I would say I can do what you can't do. And people are like, why? And I said, because you're just using medicine and I'm using nutrition. And that was important to me because that was a mind opener for a lot of other people in my field. But we're not just talking about that product, even though I could and I want to.
Well, I don't know. I'm still taking this to this day. I also take it before. Well, I like to actually put it in my base because it makes it taste like an orange creamsicle, the LC base. But I like that it helps mitigate if I'm having extra carbs, for example. It decreases your carb impact. So I love this. And then just to switch gears to Unimate, this product, we were introduced to this maybe 2 years ago, 3, I can't remember at this point. And at first taste, I think we thought, it's a little bitter. There's actually great studies on why the bitter taste is actually so beneficial. We have bitter receptors on our tongue, in our gut. And the bitter taste actually has something to do with the health of our metabolism. My favorite thing about Unimate is something that Clayton Barton taught me, which was that it acts as an appetite suppressant. So I'll never forget, he said that it tames the hunger lion, and it truly does. I mean, when you're trying to do maybe intermittent fasting, this is an incredible tool to help with those cravings and hunger. So I love it. I actually have it every day as well. And I love this flavor, citrus mint. But we were lucky enough to taste the new flavor, and that lemon one is delicious. It tastes like lemonade.
That's a universal amazing flavor that everybody's going to love that one. So anyway, what I did want to say is, since this came out, I have not missed a day because it is a feel good thing. And if you do what I do all day long, You need to feel good, because I see tragedy, I see pain, I see all kinds of things, and I'm trying to help people. And guess who? I have to help myself, because if I don't show up tomorrow, I can't help anybody. So I always ask people, ask me what I recommend. I go, don't ask me what I recommend. Ask me what I do. This is what I do. Okay. Every day.
Me
And
too.
probably more than I should. And this is something that's very, very important and missing in today's diet. So the last thing that I just want to end with is this. I can talk to people one at a time for the rest of my life, and I will be exhausted, and I will only reach so many people. It's up to all of us to reach people that reach people that reach people. That is, I already understand, the only way we're ever going to get the message out. And you all are the ambassadors of this message. You all have the opportunity to help more people. You have the opportunity to say things that I can't say, because I'm here. I'm stuck in a cube all day long, talking on the phone or seeing patients one by one. And really, we need people to go out there and share this with their friends and their families, of course, their families, because you care about them. So, while we're thinking about our health, think about prevention, and think about why we're in the situation that we are, because some people weren't thinking about prevention. And with that, I just want to say, please help me help the world. Okay. And my wife too.
Thank
Okay.
you.
You're welcome.